where we bridge the medical world with the lifestyle world and all things in between. We have an awesome group of people here today. We're going to be talking about, again, sport, cannabis in sport. We've got Angelina here, who's like massive, I don't know. I was going to bring a mat so she could kick me, and then I changed my mind. And I got Nate. I was thinking maybe he's going to stick me in like some, I don't know, other weird lock thing. And altogether, I'm like, this is a bad idea. But either way, they're going to be talking about, we're going to talk about cannabis and sport and cannabis athletics and bringing healthy options to the edible world. And that'll be interesting because we also have Reena here, who's a chef, who, I don't know, do you bake?
I do.
But she doesn't. Does you bake anything healthy?
Do you bake or do you just get baked?
And we got Anthony who's here from Hamilton Vape Lounge.
Yeah.
And we're going to we're gonna talk about all things today. But we're gonna start off with, and of course, how could I forget Tyler, who didn't even want to be here today?
I always want to be here.
Actually, Tyler's like, I have to be somewhere at 6 o'clock today. He said to me, I'm like, do you got a job? Do you have a job?
I've been here since 8:30. I went through clinic, and now I'm doing this.
Very nice.
I'm happy to do this. It's just, I wanted to call patients.
What are you? Are you happy?
I'm very happy to do this. I just needed to call patients before I started.
Okay,
that's
fine.
all. I just wanted to do that. I did that. We're all good. Patients are happy.
Patients are happy.
That's all that counts. Right?
I'm glad I'm home.
And we got Lucas, who's our videographer, doing sound over there. And of course, producing the show, we've got Al, who's on the other side of this Bose. Hey, Al.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. So Al brought up some good things. We're actually, before we get started with everybody in their damn phones.
Mine's down.
Yeah, if you guys have a look at this, and you're right, we're live, and we've got 15 different phones. Thank you. I think we need to start with an arm wrestle for space, though. I think we already called that.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah, you
all right.
Go left-handed.
Before left. Well, I'll go left-handed. Listen to her. Listen, I'll go left-handed.
Go through the world.
Fine, I'll try left-handed.
Can I use your change? Is that fine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh God. So I think that's how we're going to start off, and then we'll get into the news. We're going to jockey for position here. I don't know. I've been watching this Netflix series called Formula One. It's crazy. Did you watch that?
Bobby got me to watch.
Oh, it's awesome. And I never watched race. Like, who ever watches racing?
My brother does.
It just sounds loud.
Our videos.
It was boring, but this is not boring. But I want to get to Al was just talking about what's going on in the Hamilton area right now. With all the raids and also the police not caring about things, I don't know, and Jack Lloyd talking. I want to know all that stuff. Everybody needs to know this stuff. Yep. So that'll be our news before we get started. Or maybe we'll do the news at the end. But either way, I want to see this damn arm wrestle. So this is what we're going to do.
I'd rather clinch him, really.
That's fair, man.
It's not even fair.
I'll get in a clinch.
Like, you have good
Stick me in the clinch. I'm down. Yo, I'm going to reverse Kimura. I don't know. Yeah.
I don't think there's enough workers' comp.
All right, there. I got the story posted. We're good.
Okay.
Arm wrestle?
Yeah, no, you guys are going to arm wrestle.
You're not arm wrestling.
You're not arm wrestling me. Look I'll kick your ass.
I'm not arm wrestling.
You're not?
I'm not.
What do you mean?
It's not my martial art.
I'm not good at arm wrestling.
Can I kick you?
Only if I get to kick back 4 times.
One kick. Can you stand there and she'll just kick you once?
Sure.
No, that's not fair.
I need a new six-pack.
You know what Angelina's kick.
She'll break your ribs in like a heartbeat. Look,
I understand.
Poor guy, Nate MMA guy fights all over the world, and we're worried about her kick.
He could hurt you more with his toes than I could with my kick.
So
how about you take one kick from me and one toe pull?
Like ticklish?
I won't kick you with a
like a toe kick?
The meanest shit ever. It's a stab.
That sounds mean. I don't know if I know that.
Can you put this thing closer to you?
I just have crippled toes, so now they're magnets.
I was like, I don't use them as a knife. I don't know. My wife tells me my toenails are like sharp. So they're like, and you're all snuggled up. They're like cutting into you.
Wow,
I got funky feet, man.
Really? So you got a toe kick? Is it like is it a flick?
It's a flick.
You stab with, what do you stab? Like,
can you demonstrate
like
it?
the lip.
Oh my
Guys,
god. You actually asked her to demonstrate?
Yeah, we want to see her toe kick.
Oh, no.
Don't hurt anybody.
I'm scared. I'm scared.
No, it's gonna be.
I just want to get in the
Look, he's all...
Wow!
Oh, you feel it.
I felt it. I felt it.
That sucked.
Yeah.
Oh
You
my
feel the
God.
toe.
Oh
That
my
was like
God.
You expect like you feel like
Yeah.
yeah.
You
No,
So when I
got
throw
broken
it,
Wow.
Dude's got
I got you.
claustrochondritis
I
right
felt
now.
that
That
right
kill?
here.
no, I'm totally fine.
Okay, because I
Look.
felt it.
Me too.
Look.
Oh! Wow!
Not my first
Oh,
rodeo.
oh my god.
Most people
Hey.
give me this look.
Views go up. Views go up now.
Thank you, Tyler.
Wow.
All right.
There's some clickbait. Use
All
that
right.
for clickbait.
So, okay, so for
I was
everybody,
handling it like a champ too.
for everybody
Not my first rodeo.
that just missed what happened, Nate literally just did like this toe kick
Yeah.
thing into of Tyler, and he's got this big red mark. And I heard it, I felt it, I got a
Me
headache I
too.
think from it. Right on. I definitely wouldn't have stood there for it. I give you,
I was ready.
Tyler,
Hey.
you are forever the co-host of this show.
That's too funny.
All right,
What am I
Al.
going to do next?
More like guinea pig.
Or guinea pig. Okay, Al, can you just before I want to tell the people who are at least watching in the beginning before they shut it off what just happened in Hamilton? You just sent me a clip of and a link of something about the premier saying there are too many dispensaries in Hamilton and they all need to be shut down. And then you said there was something about Jack Lloyd getting on the news or talking to somebody about something that had to do with cannabis. What are you talking about?
I mean, most people who know Jack Lloyd, he's very passionate about medical marijuana. And the last couple of weeks, the police have been going full bore, shutting down what are medical cannabis dispensaries. And then all of a sudden, Mr. Ford opens up his yap, and he's basically pointing a finger going, go and do something. And every time they close...
Something to whom?
The dispensaries. He wants them shut down.
Right.
He says that there are... But so this article here is a response from the Hamilton Police Department, basically saying, wait a minute, Mr. Ford, there's not 50 odd stores. There's 12 now, maybe 15.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So you've got the Premier of Ontario slapping around the police department in Hamilton, and the Hamilton Police Department are basically saying these shops are illegal. We don't care about the Superior Court injunction that's in place in Hamilton. We're going to arrest everybody and shut everybody down. You guys can figure it out in court. Now, I don't know what Jack has submitted, but I know that he has submitted some things, and he's got the ball rolling, and I'm going to have him on my show sometime soon again, and all that. But I mean, it's like the wild, wild west in a city that was once being called the Mecca of cannabis in Canada, because at one time there were more cannabis dispensaries in Hamilton, Ontario than there was Tim Hortons.
Right. So let me ask you a question, and you guys, I'll open this up. I know this is still part of the news. We haven't. Don't worry, we got lots to talk about. But this is important news happening right now. So my question to you is that I know that we all have our opinions of Doug Ford, but he also did come in and allow privatization of cannabis shops in Ontario. Certainly, they had look at Reena looking at me like she's like, what are you saying? Now, he did. Hold on. Now, sure, we're in the first iteration, and there was some ridiculous, like, what's it called when you put lottery? That some random no name people that nobody knew, and all of a sudden, all the bigwigs come out and they bought them off these guys, or you partnered with them. But at the end of the day, he allowed privatization and he allowed capital markets for cannabis in Ontario, and I think that is a good thing. Now, are dispensaries illegal? Certainly they're illegal. Should they be shut down? They probably should have been regulated more than just shut down. Yeah. But I think we already spoke about that. We beat that one down. Yep. But the thing that gets me the most is that I met with council when they came out with this lottery idea. I met with should I mention council members' names?
Sure, yeah.
I met with Jason Farr.
Yep.
I met with him, and he was super happy with the dispensary model. Yeah, he was a big proponent. He was he's probably the dispensary model's number one proponent. He basically said, we like our dispensary. I was trying to pitch him we need to regulate these things, and he's like, why? I mean, they don't cause any problems, and everybody likes them. We've had literally one complaint from one person over and over again from all of our dispensaries, and it's always the same person over and over again. So otherwise, they're productive to our community, and we like them here. Then all of a sudden, now we're seeing these things turn around, and that's when all these dispensaries in Hamilton were popping up left and right. Some of them definitely were not regulated appropriately. Well, none of them were really definitely regulated appropriately. Mm-hmm. There were some that tried to regulate themselves, and I appreciate that. Because what they're trying to do is, we test our product, here's the testing, here's the ingredients. They're very transparent, and that's the important stuff. But then all of a sudden we get this thing out there, and I don't know what to make of it. I don't know if I'm sort of stuck on the fence. Is it a good thing that we're closing down the dispensaries?
We don't have any stores.
We have no store. We have one store. The Hello Cannabis guys are opening up that store.
Dundas.
Right.
It's not even Hamilton.
They opened. They were open the other day in Burlington on the 1st, I think.
Well, I will say Hamilton around 700,000.
Still
one store for 700,000 people.
Yeah. Dundas is considered Hamilton. It's still Hamilton. It's still Hamilton. It's all Hamilton now. Even Flamborough, all those.
I know they call it Hamilton, but it's not Hamilton.
I do agree with you that Hamilton didn't get any stores aside from the one in Dundas. They're still. I mean, I spoke to they're still under construction for a long time. So God knows, and they're opening right next to the liquor store or the beer store down in Dundas. Anyway, so
it doesn't seem right.
It doesn't seem so
Here,
right.
Get your cannabis and your alcohol, then get in your car and drive home.
Doesn't seem so right.
Seem right.
All right, so let's get into it. That's my news. We'll get back to the news in the last 10 minutes and have Tyler talk about the news. I want to get right into the people that we have here because Nate's falling asleep on me. He just smoked a blunt and he's half sleeping. I tried giving him like this. Speaking, nobody's ever going to hear you. Do you look like that when you walk into a fight?
Always.
Good for you.
I look like this all the time.
Actually, that's great.
I look like this.
You saw how he walked into that kick. That was so unassuming.
It was. That was a good little. Dude, it's still hurting.
Honestly,
this guy's
no. You know what hurts? I blocked a shot last night in hockey, and I have a friggin' bruise like this on my spine. Yeah, we won. We're in the finals.
Woo!
Oh, wow.
Finals. Yeah. Keep that thing closer to you. All right.
Close enough.
That's close enough. Let's start with Angelina.
Hi.
Tell me about you. So tell us about what you do, where you came from, so I'll just tell you what I know.
Okay, go.
Is that you're like a kick-ass martial artist.
Thank you, sir.
Who's been fighting Muay Thai like worldwide in where is Asia?
Asia.
In Asia. Huh? I'm horrible with geography. We've been through this before.
Thailand's in Europe.
Yeah, Thailand's in Europe. Shut up.
It's just a short flight.
Is it? I don't know.
No.
I have no idea. Is it close?
It's not close.
Not even close. Not even a little bit?
20 hours away. Yeah.
From where?
From here.
From here.
Well, it's like 12 hours 16-hour flight to Hong Kong, and then another 4 hours to Bangkok.
Can you talk into your mic?
I could.
It doesn't have to be. You can move. Can we adjust that?
Can I move it?
You can move it any way you want.
Just so that that it's pretty directional and
I can just break it.
Lucas was late. Lucas was late today, so everything is all over the place.
Should I name Malcolm while he stands beside me?
Yeah, you should. Yeah, I trained Muay Thai once.
Good job.
Once, one day. No, I trained. I trained. Well, it's David Rosenberg. I remember that guy in Toronto. He was trained some Pride fighters, and I was training with him for a while. I do all different kind of stuff.
You do
now.
martial arts?
Yeah, since I was about 8.
Okay.
Not too long.
You still like to kick and punch?
Yeah, I kick, punch, grapple.
Oh, let's do some sparring. Come on.
But I do different stuff. It's not a sport anymore. Now it's like, you just smile, you're dead. That's how it works. I don't sport fight. I don't fight for sport. But not like you. Not like you. I don't fight like you.
I'm retired now, but.
Okay, but tell me. Okay. Tell me about you. All I know is that you're this kick-ass martial artist. We sat on a panel together. That was our first time meeting.
It was. And I was stoked.
And then I find out you do edibles, but you do healthy. You're bringing something new to the world. So tell me about you, where you came from, all this stuff. Go.
Started training Muay Thai about 14 years ago.
Who are you?
Who am I? I'm Angelina Blessed.
Yes.
So I am the founder.
That's not really your last name, is
No,
it?
It is not.
Okay. Yeah. I was like, I'm not going to introduce her last name just in case. I don't know.
Keep it simple. And I started a company about 5 years ago called Blessed Edibles. And Blessed was born out of many years of Muay Thai training. And I was just looking for an alternative of a way that I could get some rest and be able to continue training without taking the painkiller sort of route.
What do you mean? You just came up with the name Blessed? Was that
no?
The idea,
it wasn't. This wasn't an idea. This wasn't me trying to come up with a company. This was just me trying to find a way to help myself. Okay. So the whole Blessed thing came a few years in when we kind of I needed a name and I tried to think about what my direction was. So 13 years of going to Thailand every winter, taking fights, getting blessed by the monks every time before you go.
Right.
Just kind of started the entire thing.
That's interesting. 5 years ago. So you were still fighting 5 years ago?
Yeah, my last fight was 2 years ago in Mexico. Yeah.
Wow.
I know you want to say my age.
No, I will. I won't say your age. But what I'll say is that's insane.
I'm pretty crazy.
No, that's I've never seen anybody have that much longevity in a career.
My first fight was at 29. I never thought I was going to be a competitive martial artist. I got thrown into the ring completely unprepared in Thailand for my first fight. And
you only started training when you were 29?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I was not athletic. I was a party girl who had a lot of energy. So I just needed kind of way to stop partying, but I still had energy to burn. So I started running, didn't know how to run. And then I ended up at a place on Bloor Street and met Ajahn Suchart and did a little Muay Thai lessons with him and then went through a breakup and ended up in Thailand for 6 months. And that was 2005, the first time I went to Thailand.
What?
Yeah.
Nice.
So.
That is crazy. Mm-hmm. So what made you decide to even, so on the health and wellness, we'll get into all the other cannabis-y stuff, but I'm not going to probe deep. I'm just going to ask, why did you get into, why'd you get into Muay Thai? Was it just for, you needed an outlet?
I was looking for an outlet, and then I just ended up with some really wonderful people. And
who said you should fight?
No, it was just about a community. Like coming kind of from the party community, you feel that those people are really your family, and then you sober up a little bit and realize that's just not that way at all. I found the same kind of community within the Muay Thai community, the same sort of family within the Muay Thai community, and it just it felt like home, and it was a really nice kind of protection feeling. I think goes with the whole Buddhism theme as well, where it is about protection. And
So what was it like fighting over there? I know I'm going to talk about the cannabis, but I'm interested in what's it like fighting over there.
Ridiculous.
Is it?
I was not prepared for my first fight whatsoever. It was the ugliest thing I would never show anybody.
I want to see it.
No, it's terrible. So,
do you have it recorded?
Somewhere.
They didn't have cell phones in 2005.
They did not.
Did they?
Well, it was just like there was no Wi-Fi.
Was there? Yeah, it was like 480 dial-up.
It was super dial-up. Super dial-up.
So
there's emails,
So add email. You could get email. So what happened? They throw you in a ring there. Do they care if you live?
Well, I had really good instructors at it's called Wat San Thai now, but it was the original CM #1 in Chiang Mai.
Oh, really?
So we were I was very well taken care of there, but they put me up against a young Thai girl, and it was super ugly.
When you say super ugly, what does that mean?
Well, just not great technique. The bell goes. I hadn't had a lot of sparring experience at that point. And it was just the bell went and everyone just kind of went crazy.
Who won that fight?
I won by knockout in the third round.
Yeah. It was. Yeah, I don't want to show anybody my knockout.
Yeah.
Why would I do that?
So, but they parade you around in the ring and they put money in your mouth like a prize fighting cock. And
really?
Yeah. So it's crazy and it's cool and it's scary.
Do they still put money in your mouth?
Yeah, it's what they do with the champion cockfights.
You want to win?
They put it in your mouth after.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that, but it's cool. I think it's cool.
Sorry, I got so many things running through my head right now. I don't even know what to say. Okay. I've never really shut up before. Money in the mouth, it's a cockfight. I don't know what the hell's going on here.
So after the fight, I had hurt my leg quite badly, and I thought,
what do you mean?
There's probably like a hairline fracture of some sort, but you don't really notice it until the adrenaline kind of pumps down a little bit, and then you kind of fall out of the ring a bit. I thought I'm like, I wasn't ever going to do that again. And then, take some time off. And then I smelt the Thai oil and the liniment. And then you just have this kind of feeling in you that you just want to get in there and do it again.
So were you using, after that fight, when did you start? Have you ever been using like other medications to self-medicate prior to cannabis?
Absolutely.
In that area?
I didn't smoke cannabis for probably the first year of my Muay Thai career. I really thought it was something that would slow me down.
Right.
And then I saw all of the champion fighters that I was training with would always like burn before they would go for their run and then spar. Really? And I had no concept of that whatsoever. I took a little bit of what I saw with them and the relaxation benefits, and then just totally decided to make butter because I didn't want to smoke. I thought it would slow me down quite a bit.
So instead, somebody's got blunt in their hand. So we're over the smoking. Good, it's good. By the end of today, I'm going to talk about all the benefits and harms of smoking cannabis, so that we can then get over it and start vaping. Because if we're promoting healthy lifestyles,
we are promoting healthy lifestyles.
We should promote healthy ways to consume cannabis. If our body, he's like, that's not going to happen. It's never affected me. That's what he said. You want to move faster?
If we can get a vape in this man's hand, I'd be super impressed.
Well, I've got one plugged in.
There we go.
So then you started fighting.
So then I started fighting.
And you just
and I would I would do it every time I would get to Thailand, because at the time Muay Thai and MMA were still illegal in Ontario. There was no sanctioning.
Sorry, what? Muay Thai was illegal in Ontario?
Absolutely, only up until 2 years ago?
Okay.
3 years ago?
Like Muay Thai fights?
Muay Thai fights,
training Muay Thai?
MMA, no, just the fighting part.
Oh, the fighting part, yeah. Because when I trained it, it was the mid-90s.
You're like, we're allowed?
Yeah.
No, of course you're allowed, but it's just no sanctioned fight. So you could do the demos where both hands would go up at the end, but I'd rather...
No winner?
No winner. They'd stop it really quickly if kind of shit was hitting the fan.
Okay.
So, but in Thailand, it'd be no gear, just...
you don't wear...
No headgear, no shin guards. Yeah, just...
you just go and go.
Like I fought in 6-ounce gloves in Phuket.
Yeah, any glove is like getting hit by like nothing, really. Once you get hit by fists, gloves make everything better. Yeah. Even those little MMA, even the 4-ounce gloves, it starts feeling like Nerf punches after a bit. Yeah. Anyway.
The right guy hits you. I don't know.
Or you just get hit in the right way. Yeah, fair enough. I don't know.
Right in the liver.
Taking a
toe kick.
I used to want to see what it was like to get hit with the gloves. Because we don't train when I train now, I don't train with gloves. Never did. Yeah. Except when I was doing kickboxing or Muay Thai back in the 90s. But then when you start getting into all those defense sort of things, you stop using gloves and you just start hitting each other. And so I'm like, all right, well, let's put the gloves. Let's go to one of these, because everybody talks about the different martial arts, being Bushido, like a lot of bullshit. And a lot of martial arts are bullshit. Or at least the way that we train them now, like these self-defense sort of techniques. So I went to one of these things and they all had gloves. I'm like, I put gloves on. I'm like, you guys can hit me all day. This is fun. It was like, it's when you get hit with a fist without gloves over and over, getting hit with even a 4-ounce gloves.
So how do you feel being a doctor and getting punched in the head? How do you feel about that, knowing about brain health?
Yeah. Well, so I'm retired. Anyway, but rugby is what gave me all my issues with my brain. Also maybe birth. Like I have had issues since birth. But this isn't about me. This is about you. Excuse me. So, cannabis in sport, how does it help you? Well, I haven't finished hearing your story.
Yeah.
So you're not using it. When did you start realizing that you needed anything, not cannabis, And did you use other medications to treat whatever pain you were going through?
We come from a real generation of like harder, faster, just go harder, train every day, take no days off, a total bullshit kind of mentality. So I realized, I would try to go harder. I would push myself more. I would take more injuries, and nothing was really helping. I would take a day off here and there.
What would you take?
I would take Advil. I would take anything. What is the arthritic medication? Starts with a C.
Celebrex?
Yes. Yeah.
Doctor.
There you go, doc.
Thank you.
And that helped a lot. But I know,
I'm like, see, now doctors have to learn how to spell because we have to write on computers. Otherwise, it probably would have spelled with an S. No, I'm kidding. Yeah.
So we just decided to kind of move forward with trying to find a healthier way to go about healing myself. Okay. So that's when I met the guys at Float Toronto.
Okay.
And that's when Joe Rogan started talking a lot about the sensory deprivation, started talking about cannabis, and we just kind of like, he is to me the kind of gateway drug to all things MMA and recovery and all the good things that we should be talking about. So at that point, with the weight categories that I wanted to stay in, knowing that sugary edibles are just going to be adding more inflammation to the body, an important decision for me to want to take the oils and get the medicine, not take things like Celebrex, and be able to get the sleep that I need. It was really the cortisol level issues that were kind of messing with me. So no matter what I was taking to...
It's okay, we kick him out.
That's okay. He's out.
You're out. You see, you're talking about ADD people here. You said like you hear a little noise, except for of course Nate, who just sits here, doesn't talk. He's just like the most chill guy I ever met in my life. He's just like, life's good until I kick your ass.
Unassuming.
Okay, so sorry to interrupt you. I know you were as ADD on that action as I was.
I didn't know what that noise was.
Right.
So,
I'm like,
caught my attention.
Jesus.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
I got ADHD fast.
So go on.
Where were we? So I decided to just try to figure out the ways to get oil into myself and get the rest that I needed. The more I started using the sensory deprivation tank, the more rest I was getting. I was realizing that I really needed to take a rest after the last head injury. So
have you had concussions and
quite a few? I've been knocked out a few times.
Really? Wow. I don't even know what to say. Yeah. You would you get knocked out.
Once in the ring, once from a shitty training partner, and I'll take a fucking dime for him. I'll take 2 dimes for that.
Yeah, she's that. No. Finally met somebody who swears more than me.
So I received a really terrible concussion from right before I was supposed to go on like a fight streak, and I was knocked out
in training.
That
is a shitty partner.
And 30 minutes later, the room was spinning. I took a hit and then got back up and finished a few rounds with him stupidly, and then 30 minutes later started throwing up, had to go to the hospital, really? Couldn't touch my nose.
Did you not have a coach or anybody present to say probably not a good idea?
The coach missed the strike, and then I'm a tough ass, so I got up and tried to keep going anyways.
Really?
Yeah.
So, and at that time were you using cannabis or no?
Yes, I was, and then it got... And then they tried to give me all sorts of drugs when I got to St. Joe's Hospital, and I, of course, didn't want them. And then I just went home and rested with a massive dose of CBD and just decided to treat myself. So I just kind of shut things down for a solid 5 days, taking big doses. Things did get better, but it was an extremely long recovery.
How long did you take? What year was that?
That would have been 2 years ago.
Really? Oh, that's no good. So how are you feeling now?
I'm healed now.
How has CBD helped you through that? If at all?
Absolutely. Okay. I was actually using a bit more THC at the time because there was a lot of nausea that was left there for a long time with the head injury.
Yeah.
And the THC really did help with that.
So you were definitely post-concussive. So concussion syndrome, I mean, a concussion can be sustained from any traumatic force to the head.
Right.
And it's a bunch of different mechanical forces that come together and they cause something that we call a concussion. We still don't really fully understand the pathophysiology, or we really don't understand how it actually all works. But we know that it's a bunch of different dynamic forces coming together that cause that sort of shaking of the brain, and that can cause it. Usually, and this is just for some knowledge around concussions, simple concussions last usually around 7 to 9 days max, and then they're gone. And in most cases, in the majority of cases, that is what happens, simple concussion, gonzo. And they're associated with nausea, dizziness, headache, lack of balance, lack of concentration, all those things. After that, you can get post-concussive syndrome, last up to 3 months, all the way sometimes up to 2 years. And in that case, that's where I think where we have evidence that's mounting now that both THC and CBD, it's not just one, both are neuroprotective. Mm-hmm. And they both protect your brain for different reasons, most of which are because they scavenge these things called free radicals. So they decrease the oxidative, the bad stress on our brain, and they help clean up sort of like, that little round thing you put on the ground that can clean up the floor in the house. That's what it's called.
DJ Roomba.
Yeah, I don't know, whatever it's called. You have a vacuum.
You put a Wi-Fi speaker on it in college and you would drive around with DJ Roomba. So you know it was coming, you'd hear him.
That's awesome. The thing always costs too much money. I was like, it's $400, $500.
It's going to sweep the floor.
Yeah. Somebody will. No, I'm just kidding. I can't even say I would do it because then somebody will call in and yell at me. Yeah, for sure. So at that point, both THC and CBD clean up they help clean up some of those bad stressors, stress chemicals that are in your brain. They scavenge we call them free radical scavengers. And then it helps decrease the stress on your brain. So both THC and CBD can do it. There's mounting evidence that CBD does that better, but both of them have been found to do it to the point that, some people on neuro wards, like neurological wards in hospitals, are still doing it. I've been called to see patients on neurological wards for potentially using it. So
the regeneration benefits and the protective benefits are so massive with it, and I think everybody should be taking at least small doses, especially in martial arts.
Yeah, I want to get back to that martial arts thing. And I'm going to have that whole conversation once we get Nate talking here, because I got to hear if he actually talks. Yeah, I want to hear how he talks. He just kicks. He's just like, I don't need to fucking talk. I'm just going to kick your ass. Okay. Anyway, I'll put that in. Hold on a second.
Okay.
But, and we didn't even talk, because I want to talk about your blessed edibles and that whole thing too. So, CBD. Now, is there enough evidence to say it's mainstream yet? I'm not so certain about that. But is there a lack? I know let's argue about it. She wants to argue with me and say that there isn't. But that being said, there is enough evidence to show me a lack of harm.
Absolutely.
So therefore, is it worth a shot potentially to be beneficial, knowing that the harms are the benefit can possibly outweigh the harms tenfold? For sure. So, if the harms are that low, then you should definitely probably be giving
anybody that's kind of open to the possibility of the healing of it and is scared of any sort of psychoactive anything, which they shouldn't be, but if they're just treading lightly, people are. Absolutely, and that's it's a wonderful place for them to start, and it is. It will kind of break a little bit of stigma for them to be able to walk into a place of, okay, so this is the beginning of the healing, and I feel comfortable with this, and what's the next step from here?
Okay, so. Nate,
what's up?
Tell me about your life. You're this mystery right here.
I grew up playing football for Scarborough Thunder from
really,
we'll say 11 until 19.
Okay.
My last season just didn't go great. Me and the coach didn't get along, and I've been an athlete my whole life, so I needed
somebody not get along with you.
I was younger and had a little bit of a chip on my shoulder, so I didn't like to listen to certain people.
None of us do.
But no, I went to go see this movie a few months after leaving the football field, and it was Ong Bak that got me into Muay Thai.
Really? That was an amazing film. The first one?
But how I got to see it was at Scotiabank Theater. They were doing live demos on the stage before the movie started. So I was like, yo, what's that? And the girl I nudged her. I'm going to do that. She's like, yo, you crazy. And a week later, I was in the gym.
Really? I still watch some of that movie. That movie is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, the effects in that movie are just crazy. And that guy is
he did his thing. He
sure did. Okay, so how old were you when you started?
19.
So you also started late.
Yeah.
I feel like anybody that martial arts for these guys, like 19 is already, people are fighting 19 to 23, and then usually they retire.
Oh, the Thai fighters are done by like 25 tops.
Except you. Yeah. You're nuts. Okay. Well, but you are. You're crazy.
Thank you.
That's good. But anyway, so I've never seen it before.
Okay.
So you're 19. You started. Why'd you start? Because you saw that you needed energy.
I got into some trouble too, and that trouble opened my eyes to like that's not where I want to be and not what I should be doing.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah.
That's good.
So I put myself full into the martial arts after that and never got in trouble again.
Really?
I did a couple of the demo fights and it wasn't for me just because I hit hard.
You started off, well, we know. We saw a little toe kick.
So a couple times they were like, man, like my last demo they stopped it and said like, oh, they have this 30-year-old man fighting a kid. And I was 23, and the kid was like 19. So it wasn't much of an age difference, but it was just, so that's when we were like, okay, we got to find what we're going to do with me.
Yeah.
So I chose the MMA thing.
So where did you start from?
This gym on Bloor. I don't really want to give their name.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not trying to give anybody no love.
No, of course.
Gym on Bloor.
Yeah. You started off at a gym on Bloor.
Yeah. Started with a good group of guys. A gentleman named Mauricio Vale and his brother Andre Dida.
Sure.
And from there, I just stuck with them. I fought in Brazil. My first pro fight was in 2012 in Brazil.
Oh, wow.
Part of a documentary.
Okay.
And from there, I just...
Which documentary?
The Fight Exchange.
Oh, I watched the Fight Exchange. Were you on the Fight Exchange?
I'm the guy, you know that Mike Imperato situation?
Yeah. Oh.
I'm that guy.
Oh!
I'm that guy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What? That's...
Maybe you should tell the story.
Oh,
yeah, what happened?
Oh, so we're in Brazil.
That's...
The day we got to see and we got to beat Anderson and a couple other fighters.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So respectfully, you're just like, wow, I've been watching these guys for years. These are the guys I'm watching where I want to be.
Yeah.
His comments were something along the line of me dick riding. So I turned to my teammate who was out there with me at the time and said like, Kara, these guys some of them get tough when they get to this pro MMA thing. And I'm like, I don't play that shit.
Mm-hmm.
He turned around and said,
just saying.
We got a couple more coming.
Yeah,
so he turned around and said, oh, you think you're a gangster now? And I was like, I didn't say nothing about a gangster. I just said, y'all think you're superheroes.
Yep.
Jumped out the car and I'm going to kill this.
Wow.
Everybody knows what happened after that. But the N-bomb got dropped, the F-word got dropped.
Yeah. That was really, that was an interesting, that was like, what was that, 2008, 9? When was that? No, 12.
Yeah, 2012.
Because I was done residency when I watched that. You can watch
I'm gonna
the
watch
Fight
it.
Exchange. It was like a whole...
I'm going to watch it.
Like,
I'm going to look for
series.
it. Yeah, tonight.
It was like a series.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's not like a movie. It was a
10-part documentary.
10-part documentary. Yeah. It was really good. It was
a good experience.
Well, interesting. So what did you do after that? We won't get into it. I really want to know what happened off camera, but whatever. What happened off camera? We'll talk about what happened off camera.
It wasn't anything serious.
Yeah.
Like
okay.
It was.
Y'all made friends.
I wouldn't say that.
No, okay. No friendship. There was no friendship happening. Okay.
I don't.
They just. It seems that they just. Yeah, they just chirped a lot for. I find
that particular guy was just, like we were all out there to do something. He was out there talking about, oh, I've done this, I've done that. So
I'm going to give an opinion.
Uh-huh.
Just not that I ever give my opinion, but here's my opinion. And it's a problem that I find in MMA in general. Because I still come, even though I do all these non-traditional martial arts, I come from a karate background, and that's what I did from maybe 8 till 16 was traditional karate, and it was all about and I think martial arts and brought you to the same place was it's a place of respect and needs to be honored, and even in the ring, you keep it all in the ring. You leave the ring, you honor yourselves, you honor each other, And I find that in MMA, I'm losing that even at the weigh-ins, like even and all the chirping. I understand boxing and all this crap. Boxing, that culture doesn't have the background or the tradition, let's say,
of a lot of the martial arts.
Of the martial arts.
Yeah,
and the martial arts came from, it's all a matter of respect. And I find that now I can't, I don't mind watching it because I enjoy it. I like watching MMA.
The competition part of it.
Right.
Not
I don't watch
drama and the bullshit.
No, I don't watch the
media
TV show.
crap. The crap they hype up
but
to
they
make money.
They get themselves involved in that. You can just say no, I'm not going to be involved with that.
Right.
But they see the dollar signs and they see
paid.
but they're going to get paid. But if all parties come in and say, this is respect, and I always use McGregor or whatever.
Oh gosh.
But there's a bunch. They're all the same.
Listen, it needs the whole thing. Right?
What's that?
No trash talking.
Notice it needs the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But I happen to agree with Habib on that point. I don't agree with what he did at the end of his fight, of course, because that's still a lack of respect that he showed. Yeah. And you still have to take, you still should take that higher road. He left it all in the ring. He proved his point before and after. It should all be, all respectful. I don't know. What do you find about?
That's what got me to martial arts, because football, I found, like, if you made a big hit, like, you're standing over someone, and so when I got here, I found it toned me back a bit. So
right.
I find even my coach tells me, he's like, man, he's like, you got to believe your hype sometimes. Like, he just said this to me the other day. I have to believe in my own hype, because I just go through the motions and do it. I just want to get better. I'm not about talking.
Right.
Just do it.
Yeah, I agree with I agree with that. I can do it all with a smile.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, not that people have to enjoy hitting other people, or maybe they do. They do. Mm-hmm. So but doing it all with a smile.
Just enjoying what you're doing.
Yeah. And there's gonna, and if so, you're not I don't know how to say it without sounding like I'm total psychopath.
Both me and our coach smile at me with the biggest smiles.
Right. But that's what you do. You're doing it with a smile on. Oh yeah, they're dead. Yeah. But my point was survival. Like, the point is, I enjoy this. Like, I enjoy the movement.
Yeah.
I enjoy
it is a beautiful movement.
It is. It's a beautiful movement, and somebody's on the other side who's going to get hit, and they nod, smile, and move on.
Yeah.
It's nothing personal until you're out on the street, and then it's very personal.
Yeah, that's the thing, though, is I find sometimes even sparring, you see it, like, people get caught up in their feelings. They get touched and hands dropping.
Yeah, it's ego. That's what happens. It's a lot of ego. So how did cannabis come into your life?
It's always been there.
Really?
Yeah. My mom's a dread. So it's always
part of,
been around me. And
it's part of your cultural upbringing. Yeah. So how does it help? So you're an athlete, though.
Yeah.
And as an athlete, what are your thoughts around cannabis, and how do you use it in your sport?
Now that I'm a lot more mature about things, it's more.
What do you mean?
For me. So when I was younger, smoking was just smoking. I was smoking just to.
There was
get
no
high
thought to it.
Thought, there was no thought to it. Now, at the end of the night, I know, okay, I get in. I'm like, okay, jumping in the bath. I need a little CBD if I'm going to sit down in the bath and chill in the tub for a bit, like, whereas before it was just like, no, smoke a blunt. I'm still
smoking blunts.
You
have one in your hand. I get it.
But that's just me. That's me with the blunt. Is just like,
right.
When people describe me, it's the guy with the gold teeth and the tattoos on his face and the dreads. That's
right.
And the blunt.
That's me. So, but how does it help you? Because do you find that it inhibits you or helps you? Because I'm going to go from I don't want your nods of no. Let him talk for himself over here.
Let me hear what you're going to ask, though.
No, I'm going to let you say it, so I don't lead you down the road of whatever.
I also have a tendency.
Get into the mic, would you?
I'm a little. What's the word I'm looking for? I get anxious easy.
Okay.
High pressure. Like, I pressure myself really easy.
Sure.
So even before most of my training, I'm smoking. Like, I will smoke something before training, just kind of to.
Does it make you more cerebral, or does it make you feel like I can't move my arms and legs?
No, a little more cerebral. I think more where a lot of people are like, oh, I can't strike, and
right.
it doesn't bother me like that. Like,
does it matter
still
what
think that-
kind, what you smoke or what you vape?
No.
No, it doesn't matter what it is. Nothing will affect you negatively in that sense.
No.
So I've had
Not
other
that I've noticed so far.
I've had other and you still.
He's an anomaly though. We've actually had see how many milligrams of edibles we could actually feed him. He's not a normal.
And so his metabolism is a little.
He just-
the way he
yeah.
metabolizes cannabis is a little different.
Long-time user.
Long-time user.
Right.
He's made of cannabinoids,
But-
basically.
but there are long-time users of cannabis who don't necessarily have the same experience.
Right.
And when it comes to sport, I've had other people on here. For example, Rory, and
Love
Rory,
that guy.
loves you
I
too,
love that
by
guy.
the way. I've had Rory on here, and he talks, and they talk about using cannabis before you train, after you train, or during training, and talks about using cannabis or training the way you fight. Before you go into a fight, before you go into a pro fight, are you smoking?
No.
Right.
You know what's funny about that actually? I haven't fought since 2016.
Yeah.
Rory and Lyndon cornered me for my last fight.
Probably
And
not
it's
a good
funny.
idea to corner you, but
He didn't stop me, but what he did was he's like, I want you to start vaping. And that's where I did actually vape for that whole camp. I was like, okay, can't smoke no more blunts.
Right.
So I actually put my blunt down and I was vaping for that whole camp and I felt a difference.
What did you feel as a difference?
As far as my conditioning, it was through the roof.
Right.
I know.
Thank you. Okay. Now, okay, we're gonna start. Hold on. There's a mic right there, and it's not attached to anything, and I should drop it. So, because that hits my point, right? If you're going to do it, and you are a role model for other people, and you're a role model for other people, everybody in this room is a role model in some way for other people. And if we're promoting health and wellness, you have a woman here that's come on saying, I'm tired of eating all these high sugary, fucking gummy bears. It's the only way I could get the word gummy bear. And so I'm going to make something healthy. And if you're out there fighting and you want your conditioning better, why the hell are you smoking a blunt? Is that because it's a habit for you? In which case, let's work on that.
Yeah, I would say it's a habit.
Right. So let's work on that, because if you can get the same experience, the thing you don't get, and here's a little more, there's some education. How does it's not really addiction, but how does the habit form around cannabis? It doesn't form secondary to the actual medicine itself, to the actual cannabis itself. It forms around the habits you form on the way you use your cannabis. Mm-hmm. So I have to, I use it in my special way with my special friends in that same little corner, and that nobody can see me, and it's got to be this blunt, and I got to use my banana roll and my blah 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 and all this other stuff, and that's the habit that's forming. That's the stuff that we need to break. Mm-hmm. And if we're promoting health and wellness, that's where we need to go with it. So I'm going to challenge you here, not to a fight, because you'll kick my ass. I'm an old man. I'm an old man.
Easy.
If I'm an old man, I don't know what that makes you. To try to move away from smoking blunts. It's tough. It's tough. It's not easy.
Yeah,
that's the habit.
Worth it, though.
It is, because your conditioning, if you're an athlete and your conditioning can handle it, what do you have to say about that?
Oh, he's already a monster while smoking blunts, so I could only imagine how.
Can you imagine?
It wouldn't. It's not even fair.
It
wouldn't even be fair.
Right,
for the
that's
normal
not even
person.
fair. That's not normal. It's craziness, right? So why don't we do that?
Yeah.
So why don't we do that? Right? Yeah.
Contract.
Gonna try. Yeah. So right.
Okay,
So
we're gonna sponsor some fighters.
Well, right.
Yeah,
I'll give you my vape if you stop smoking blunts. I'll give you my vape. It's right there. I'll give you my vape right now.
Wow.
You just want me to drop the blunt in.
Go and drop the blunt.
He's like, can I finish this one?
Can I smoke the last couple of ones? I can't. See, in here lies the problem. Baby steps.
It's already in my hand. I'm better to smoke it.
You're going to finish that blunt, and then you'll have my vape.
Wow.
Reset. Oh, man. Okay.
Okay.
It's tough. It's not easy. That's so tough.
But it is
so
habit. It's
But
habit.
like I said, I did it for the fight, so it's one of those things where I know I can do.
Rory, if you're listening,
Oh,
I'm gonna
shit.
hold. You know, do you work hands there? Where do you work there? What do you do?
I go. Well, I haven't been out there in a while. Just travel wise and work. It's hard to get out there right now. So I do all my striking right now at Southside Muay Thai with Evan Boris.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah.
So, well, maybe if Edmund's listening. Evan. I don't know. Evan.
He's been here.
Evan.
Yeah.
He's been here? Where?
Here. I think he's been here. Never mind.
I don't know where we're talking about.
Just go.
Okay.
I can find out.
No. Maybe I know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's just call him E for short.
Okay.
E, if you're listening, this guy right over here is going to finish his blunt because he can't let it out of his hand. and then I'm going to give him my vape. You're going to finish that when we're done here. And if you're down for that, I mean, I'm down for that challenge.
I'm down.
I'm down for at least 1 month.
Okay.
I'll make it a month.
Okay.
Let's make it a month challenge. Let's make it a month challenge for everybody who's listening. I'm not giving you all vapes though.
Month of vapes.
Let's call April. It's April 2nd.
Not for
Okay.
420.
420.
All of a sudden, everybody's out.
I'm
good.
still in.
I'm a write-off.
No
Let's-
vape.
I'm on a fight, so I'm still in.
All right. Then my vape is yours.
We're gonna be at Canada Crawl
so.
inhaling that secondhand smoke.
But you're gonna vape it because I'm gonna be there with my mic, making sure everybody in the room who's agreed to this, and so far nobody except you. And what about you, Tyler?
I can try. 420 will be hard. It'll be hard.
But you have a nice
I
beard.
want to spin a ton up on 420. That's my thing. It's my ritual. Like breaking habits, I'll be breaking a habit.
So
You
why
have
don't we
a
break a
harvest.
habit?
I'm gonna have a
He's got a
harvest.
harvest.
Why don't we break a habit? Why?
Vapes and edibles.
What is the problem with
I do
breaking?
want it.
Listen, guys, you guys are. This is the whole problem. You guys are. This is the
This is
problem.
supposed to be the healthy
I hope
episode.
this is right. It's turned
Okay,
into.
I'll do it. I'll vape
It's
on
hard.
420.
Hold on. Say
Oh
that
my
again.
god.
I'll do it. I'll vape on 420 and we'll be hitting a lot of dabs.
Dabs, yeah.
Fair.
Lots of
That's
dabs.
fine.
That's
you
okay.
can dab.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
We
You
have a
gotta
vape.
make some
We
rocks
have a
and I'll
D-
bring some flower
we have a
grass.
DBR that you can vape, but
Yeah,
you're
no,
going
we'll
to
be
use.
good. I
Well,
got.
dabs are on.
I got some press. I'll bring the press.
I'll bring some flour and some sift. I'll bring a bunch of sift.
Ooh,
Hold on. You got.
I just did a
talk
21
about.
gram.
Say what
I
you're
was
doing.
I
talking
just
about
did a
you.
21
Tell
gram
me about
sift
yours.
press at Herb. Woo!
Nice.
Got some fire. And I'm gonna
Yeah,
start
we'll be
doing.
pressing.
I'm gonna start freezing the bud right off the plant so I can get live rosin.
Some bubbles.
That's
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
bubble
yeah,
ash.
yeah.
All
But
right.
I'll still do dry ice sift, but with a 70 micron pure trichome heads.
Nice.
It'll be good. 420's gonna be lit.
Can't wait to try it.
Do you see what? Okay, you see? Hope y'all take your medicine.
Dirty talking.
So that's fine. I'm okay. I think that's a fair exchange. Fair exchange is fine. Hitting the dab is fine. Hitting the DBR, the vape DBR here is better. We'll bring one of those out. And we need to come up with so April for everybody who's listening now. This is healthy.
Vape
This
month.
is vape month. Well,
I
that's
didn't
tough.
know
You
that.
can't really do April as vape month because
So
most people
tough.
won't listen.
You'd have to
April's
start on
vape
like the
month.
20th and then end on the
21st.
20th.
Of May.
Yeah.
May has to be
Well,
the.
March 20th to April 20th.
It's about
right?
breaking habits. Let's break a habit.
Let's break a habit.
It's only
but
one day. If we can't,
it's
like.
it's the holy of days, but it is
Oh wow,
one
the
day.
holy of days.
It is.
So
Wow.
damn it, it is.
But, so that's interesting. How do
It's our
we start
holiday.
this? April
Yeah.
being. Any comments? Anybody thinking about what to do right now? Anybody?
Don't smoke weed.
He's not
every
even
day.
listening, but he's not. He hasn't even looked at it. It's
Right.
not even on. Anybody that's listening now, what are your thoughts? I'd like to know what you're all thinking about April, but it's hard. How? Because
420. That's
420 is a tough day.
But what are you needing?
Right.
What are people needing to do? Is it just the habit? Can you not eat edibles? Can you not drink some oil? Is there not another way to go about it? Is it just
Put
this?
the blunt down. Y'all gotta do the same shit. Let's go.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
let's go.
That's it. Let's just do it. Fine. April, and maybe you have one day of exception day. That's your reward. No, I don't believe in that either.
What's he gonna buy a single?
That's not breaking
There's under exceptions.
No
Who's taking
exceptions.
the
All
vape
right.
challenge?
Fine. Vape challenge. April
challenge,
being
let's
vape
do it.
challenge. Let's do it. You're
My
gonna.
girlfriend literally bought a bong today.
Well,
no, I'm out on that.
No offense. I don't believe you.
Oh,
You're
she
gonna
sent
do
me
it?
a snap or
All right.
spot a bomb.
Oh, that's nice. You can get that little fucking
attachment.
That what's that thing? The
Is there a vape attachment to the bong?
Yes.
Yeah.
What is that thing called right there? The
Magic.
not the volcano. The other one.
The V Tower.
The Da Vinci?
The Da Vinci
The
has
V-Tower.
a
The
10 mil.
V-Tower.
but the Da Vinci has a 10 mil joint you can stick into any bomb.
Ah, there we go.
That's
There's no
where it's at.
vaping.
So you can hit the bong through that. Yeah, what is that? That Extreme Q.
Extreme
Yeah.
Q.
The Extreme
riser.
Q, the Air Riser
riser.
Extreme Q.
Yeah.
You can vape through a bong. It attaches to your bong. If you,
Oh shit!
I'm in.
So-
I'm
but
in.
here's what I'm gonna say. Here's what I'm saying. Are you in? Did you say you're in?
I don't smoke that much weed.
I don't believe
I eat all the oil though.
that. All right, he's
Honestly,
like,
I
I
smoke-
can't believe he got me to say that.
Yeah.
Do you?
I have like 3 bongs a day.
Okay, well, 3, not much, just 3 times a day.
It's not
First
much.
thing in the morning.
No, for me,
It's
that's
still-
not
that's
much.
the hour.
That's still a lot.
I gave up blunts, right? Like,
All right.
I noticed a big difference
Fine.
in how my head reacts.
Oh,
when I'm
well,
smoking
what I
blunts.
will tell you is
I
that
gave up
smoking
once
through a
when I went
bong
back to
is
Canada.
probably worse
Finger
than
switches
vaping, smoking a joint. Because you,
Oh,
the
why gotta be
evidence
like
will
that?
show you that
I
you
read
trap.
that.
I know, but you trap all of your toxins in the water, and so it's not good. It's badness.
But what if you're
Can I
cleaning
make a
your
suggestion to everybody?
But you want to change it every single time, but it's not.
Every 3 days. If you're only ripping it like 5 times a day, every 3 days as you clean it.
Okay. But what I'm saying is the evidence would suggest that
Even after one rip, there's
You're-
that much tar in there.
I'd have to go and review that to be specific on that, but I'll get back to you on that, guys.
Yeah.
I'll be the tester for
I'm
that.
curious
I don't
on
want
that.
nobody talking about smoking
I know
my
some
blunts
people
when they
that
hit
leave
their
that stuff
bongs.
till it's mud.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Ew.
The problem is this. The problem is it has nothing to do with the bong. It has nothing to do with the blunt. It's the habit. That's the problem. The problem is the habit. We can abuse anything in the world that's healthy for us. And if we want to do that, then that's not healthy.
Yeah.
Right? So if we break the habit, sure, you want to smoke a blunt once in a while. You want to have a 420 where you're going to hit whatever you're going to do. And you want to have it once. No, not a problem. And we're not fucking perfect humans. But if it's your habit, if you're, for example, you exercise too much, that's not good.
Absolutely.
Right? The same thing. You can over-exercise. You can overtrain.
I
You
did
can
all of that.
overeat. You can
Absolutely.
over-sit on your fucking couch. You can over all the healthy things that we do in life. We can overdo those things. So my challenge is let's break the habit. Let's break that habit. You're getting my vape
know I
after
need
that
to.
blunt is done. We
Break
take
the
care of that
habit.
at the end.
Spring, time for new beginnings, all that good stuff.
And if you need the one day, I mean, I think if you have a little determination in you, we can overcome one day. You can still enjoy everything you want to enjoy. The problem is, I'm going to tell you where the fear is. You got FOMO. What's
Fear of
that?
missing
Sorry,
out.
what's that,
Yeah.
Al?
I said you're going to tell him.
Yeah.
Come on, Ira, tell us.
History, the legend.
Al, what do you think about? Are you in on this?
Dude, I'm a rep for Shatterizer. Yes, I
good.
have cut back from about $500-600 a month worth of medicine.
Is it
which I
hanging
can't
around?
afford. Anyways,
I was
right,
probably
to-
using it.
Is the
to
your
about
neck right?
20. Yeah, I am using it right now. To about $20 a month because I can get a pack of Shatter and it will last me a month, maybe 3 weeks.
It's also a good idea. Here's what. So back to
But
good.
it's
Thank you.
microdosing, right? So
Right. It's microdosing, and you got a Shatterizer, and you're not combusting.
Can you microdose shatter? Is that not?
Pinprick.
Yeah.
It's like you got to get like the smallest little, like, I don't even know how you would do that.
For a high user, you can, but for the average person,
Like,
no,
like my
the
first
average
dab was
person-
like a pinprick of a dab, and it was like,
next level. Yeah,
Next level.
It's a whole different euphoria.
yes.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to say. It's FOMO. I look at Reena when I say that. It's FOMO why you guys need to do all that stuff on 420. because you fear of missing out. That's what FOMO, right? We know that.
Yeah.
You have the fear of missing out your buddy who's smoking the big blunt, or your friend when we were at the last one over here, and you're like, I'm combusting. And I'm like, okay. Reena comes up to me, I'm in the car, don't hurt me. Remember that? We were standing over here, literally across the street. Somehow these guys in this building let us do the whole thing here. It makes no sense, but I guess they didn't really know what was going on. Yeah, okay. So, and she's like, don't judge me. But she's like, the reason she's doing all that is because the friends we're all doing it. Everybody's got to be on it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's it,
Because of
Reena.
the peer pressure, right?
Totally why I was